Hoop Tribe. The Aces go up 2-0 on the Phoenix Mercury, and the walls are closing in. There has been no team in WNBA history to come back from an 0-2 start in the finals. Will the Phoenix Mercury be the first, or will it happen like I said it was going to happen? Aces are going to take this championship. Looking over this series, I have to ask myself, is Alyssa Thomas going to have a Charles Barkley type career? Undersized power forward, wonderful career, wins a couple of gold medals, has some promising seasons where you think this is going to be the year. In this series, she's just outmatched, and she's been outmatched when it comes to this Aces matchup all season. They can't leave Alyssa Thomas to defend A'ja Wilson. It's not going to work. They're going to have to send a double team. We haven't seen it in the past 2 games. Trying to guard A'ja straight up is what got her in foul trouble in the first half of this game. She had 3 fouls in the first half. And I really don't understand the concept of referees saying it's difficult to officiate Alyssa Thomas. Call the foul. I also think that since the Minnesota series, that Phoenix has a target on their back. People have complained. And Cathy Engelbert said that the referees do actually review the calls. Sounds like they're watching film on AT, and some of those things that she was able to get away with, she's not right now. So she's going to have to adjust. But instead of adjusting, she's growing frustrated. Honestly, I have to say that we have to give more credit to her teammates, because having a teammate like has to be stressful if you're not cut like that. Like, bro, how you cussing me out and you missed 2 back-to-back free throws? How you cussing me out and you got 3 back-to-back fouls? How you cussing me out and you got 3 back-to-back turnovers? Talk about watching film. The Aces definitely watch film, and I'm honestly surprised that she hasn't been getting ripped this way more throughout the season, because she's doing a reverse pivot spin in traffic. I do understand her frustration, though. Phoenix was struggling offensively. They did not look as fluid as they looked in Game 1 or throughout the entire playoffs. It's a testament to the Aces defense, and we have been getting some different looks defensively from the Aces. In that first matchup, we saw the Aces go to a zone. I'm honestly not surprised to not see that zone again in Game 2, although it did work for them in Game 1. After talking to Coach Hammond after the 53-point loss to Minnesota, I asked Coach Hammond about the zone and how she felt they looked. She doesn't really like what her team looks like in zone. It was able to get the job done, but I could tell that she prefers them to just play good, straight-up man-to-man defense. And that's what they've been able to do. In the post-game press conference after this Game 2, she said that they were able to wall up. So Phoenix wasn't able to get those driving kicks out to the perimeter. Phoenix shot just 17.9% from 3 in Game 2, so they obviously made that adjustment. The Aces finally joined the rebounding party. They had 43 rebounds in Game 2 compared to 33 in Game 1. And honestly, the lack of rebounding is what made Game 1 as close as it was. If the Aces started off the game better in Game 1 and rebounded better in Game 1, I don't think the game would have been as close as it was. It might have looked much like what it looked like in Game 2. Something that Phoenix had in Game 1 that they didn't have in Game 2 was production offensively from Sammy Wickham. She had just 6 points in Game 1, but listen, those 2 threes that she did hit were momentum shifting. And after she tweaked her knee, she didn't look the same. She didn't score in Game 2. So moving ahead, they have to find some way to bring Sammy Wickham alive. Her perimeter shooting has been a bright spot for this team. Kahleah Copper has had a strong Game 1 and Game 2. She's been the consistent piece for the Phoenix Mercury team. Satou Sabally, who I've seen a lot of people go in on, struggled a bit in Game 2 from the floor, but I think that she was taking the shots that she usually takes. I don't think that we would be calling these bad shots per se if she was hitting them, because they look like what she shoots all the time. But I will say that some of those shots were early in the shot clock, and it doesn't feel like she was reading her team, because Phoenix at one point was gassed. So you don't really want to shoot that quick shot when your team just made it up the floor after we've been going. The pace of this series has been very quick. So they're going to have to break on the offensive end, because you can't break on defense, especially against a high-scoring team like the Aces. So I'll say for Satou, adjustments as to when she's taking those shots. And I think that she did better over the course of the game. Early in the game, I felt that she was rushed a bit. I think all season we talked about the depth for Phoenix, but in this series against the Aces, their bench feels like it shrank. That's a testament to the Aces defense, but this game made me really realize Phoenix doesn't really have a point guard. And yes, they have Monique Okoro-McConnell, who's been tremendous. I think that she should have been an all-rookie first-teamer. I have no gripes with Paige Becker, Sonia Citron, Dominique Malonga, Janelle Salon. I felt that they were all great. But if we're looking at overall team impact, and we do that for every other award, I think Monique Okoro-McConnell has more of a team impact than Dominique Malonga and Janelle Salon. But when we're talking about finals experience, she doesn't have any. She is a rookie. So the only floor general that Phoenix really has is Alyssa Thomas. What do they do when she's out of the game? The biggest difference between these two teams, the Aces have Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Dana Evans, Jackie Young, Jewel Lloyd. The Aces just have the better roster. It's the little things. They could trust any player on the court at any given moment to just generate offense. That is a literal cheat code. And this Phoenix defense isn't aggressive enough to really slow them down. The Indiana Fever had the best chance. Seattle hung in there too, but the Indiana Fever are looking like they had the best defense to guard this Aces team. They matched up really well with Aaliyah Boston and Asia Wilson. I think that when Asia has a matchup where she can just shoot over any play, I don't even understand why they're not going to her more than what they already are. I feel confident that 90% of the time, Asia should be able to score over AT, especially since they're not double teamed. Nalissa Smith hasn't been productive on the offensive end, but that's okay. As long as she's able to impact the game with rebounding, some big stops, that's what she'll be used for. She still has to learn to stay out of foul trouble. She did better in game 2 because game 1, she struggled with foul trouble. In game 2, she just had 2, but she just didn't score well. But she was able to do other little things, and that's what they needed. I think that the Aces are exactly where they need to be to continue the rest of this series. Going into Phoenix is going to be difficult because I'm anticipating the Aces take this down in 4. These next 2 games are going to be difficult. They're going to have the mighty Mercury. They're going to have the X Factor. And that's a different that's a different level. Different energy when you're in your home court. I have no notes. The Aces just have to play Aces basketball to pack this up. Send this, don't drag out. Let's wrap this up. We didn't get a clean sweep against the Indiana Fever. This is looking like good. This is looking like a whole snack. It's also a cheat code to have a player like Kia Stokes coming off of the bench who can give you that length in the final seconds. I think final seconds, that's the type of playing time that she's needed throughout this season. Her skill set is very situational. And I think that the Aces have 2 players that are like that. Kia Stokes and Megan Gustafson are examples of situational players that every team needs. She can put in Kia Stokes because Kia knows all of the defenses. She has that length. She can bother shots. Meg Gustafson, she can put her in because she knows she's going to hustle, run the floor. She can give away a few fouls. You might even stretch the floor with Meg Gustafson because she might knock down a 3 every now and again. I don't see a Phoenix Mercury team beating the Aces. I called it a few weeks ago when people were asking who's going to stop the Minnesota Lynx. My question, who is going to stop the Las Vegas Aces? They by far have the best roster. Now they're playing like the best team. And after 2 wins in this finals, they can taste it. They can taste blood in the water. Moving into some CBA news, Napheesa Collier canceled her meeting with Cathy Engelbert. And this just comes after Cathy straight up called her a liar. I too would be canceling my meeting. In fact, I would not meet with Cathy anymore by myself. There has to be another representative from the WNBA in the room. I want to record this, actually. What we saw from Cathy Engelbert was textbook. No proof, deny. In case you missed it, Napheesa Collier accused Cathy Engelbert of being tone deaf. She alleged that Cathy said only losers complain about the referees and that players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the new media deals she's provided. When questioned ahead of game 1 about these comments, the only comment that Cathy Engelbert specifically denied was the comment about Caitlin Clark. All of these comments were problematic, but the only one she specifically said, obviously I did not say that, was the comment towards Caitlin Clark. So nah. Cathy, I don't want to meet with you. I think that this cancellation proves that the players are in solidarity with each other. Every public statement that has been made by a player has been in agreement with Napheesa Collier. Caitlin Clark came out and said that Napheesa Collier made some valid points. She also said that Napheesa Collier did not talk to her before making those statements. So she was not aware that Cathy Engelbert allegedly said that she should be grateful. Caitlin Clark's coach, Stephanie White, was on 107.5 The Fan, where she said that I hate it all for Caitlin. You know, she's a 23-year-old kid who loves to play this game, but she's a pawn in a lot of other people's games and a lot of other people's narratives. And to that, I say, now, ain't that the pot calling the how dare anybody from the Indiana Fever organization say that Caitlin Clark is being used as a pawn? If anything, the Indiana Fever have done nothing but use Caitlin Clark, and sometimes to a fault, because it's the Indiana Fever's fault, and solely the Indiana Fever's fault, that she was shut down prematurely. There were multiple reports that Caitlin Clark was feeling muscle tightness in her legs during training camp. On May 3rd, she missed the preseason opener due to this tightness. The next game, she went and played in Iowa for an exhibition game. That was only for the Indiana Fever. That was only for Iowa. That did not benefit Caitlin Clark in any other way. In fact, it could have waited. She has so much time to go back and be honored at Iowa. Shortly after that exhibition game, May 26th, left quad strain. June 26th, she gets a left groin injury. July 9th, she returns from that injury. Growing strains last 2 to 3 weeks. She sat down less than 2 weeks with that initial injury. July 15th, she goes down with the right growing injury. So now she's injured her left and right growing. I'm not a medical expert, but I am an athlete that's been hurt a few times. The Indiana Fever were rushing Caitlin Clark to come back from injury all season. I also think it's problematic for Stephanie White to frame her like this little kid. She's 23 years old. She's about to be 3 years into her pro career. She went through 4 years of college. This is a grown woman, but this is the framing that has been done for Caitlin Clark throughout her career in the pros. And it's problematic, and Stephanie White knows that. Napheesa Collier spoke for players and coaches. She spoke for the betterment of the league, and that's what the conversation should be pointed to. I don't know how we got to pitying Caitlin Clark. Right now, I think that we're headed towards a lockout. I think that there's going to be a stoppage in play. It does not feel like they're about to come to any kind of agreement anytime soon. Cathy is saying that she wants to be better. I don't like broad statements like, what do you want to be better with? The players at this point have given you a long list. Let's be specific. Right now, the WNBA is being pressured to open the books. The NBA is being pressured to open the books, and they're stalling. It's amazing how much ball imitates life and what we're going through right now, because America is in a government shutdown. The players have leverage, and so do the people. This isn't going to go the way that they want it to go. But what are your thoughts, Hoops Tribe? How do you feel about game 1 and 2 of the finals? What stood out to you, and who is your champion? Also, I'm very curious to know about your CBA negotiation thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk hoop.